You check your phone dozens of times a day, buy things you don't need, and can't stop scrolling even when you're exhausted, and your brain is literally rewiring itself to keep you trapped in this cycle. What you're experiencing isn't a lack of willpower, it's a dopamine trap. And here's what's fascinating: understanding how it works is the key to breaking free. Today, we're diving into the science behind why your brain craves what it doesn't have, how modern life exploits your reward system, and most importantly, how to reclaim control. And number seven, it's the one that will completely flip your understanding of motivation forever. First up, dopamine doesn't just create pleasure, it drives anticipation and craving. Dr. Anna Lemke, author of Dopamine Nation and Stanford addiction specialist, explains how dopamine creates powerful urges before you even get what you want. You know that feeling when you keep reaching for your phone even when scrolling makes you feel worse? Your brain isn't seeking the pleasure of social media. It's chasing the anticipation of what might be there. Think about it. That moment right before you open Instagram or check your messages when your thumb is hovering over the app. That's when dopamine activity increases, creating an almost irresistible urge to tap. The actual scrolling often provides less reward than expected, leaving you feeling flat and reaching for the next hit. But here's what researchers discovered next. Dr. Wolfram Schultz's groundbreaking monkey experiments at Cambridge revealed something counterintuitive. Anticipation creates more powerful surges in your dopamine system than the actual reward. In his studies, dopamine neurons showed their highest activity when monkeys expected a reward, not when they received it. When the reward was guaranteed, dopamine actually decreased at the moment of delivery. This is why waiting for a text back feels more intense than actually receiving it, and why Amazon's order placed notification gives you a bigger rush than the package arriving. Your brain has turned anticipation into an addiction, and every notification, every loading screen, every coming soon message is exploiting this biological vulnerability. But wait until you hear about the intensity levels. Not all dopamine hits are created equal, and this will genuinely surprise you. Dr. Nora Volkow's neuroimaging studies at the National Institute on Drug Abuse measured specific dopamine increases. Food increases dopamine by about 50%, sex by 100%, nicotine by 150%, cocaine by 225%, and methamphetamine by 350%. Most people don't realize that social media and video games trigger dopamine responses measuring 100% increases, putting them in the same range as natural rewards but delivered through artificial means. That means your Instagram feed is hitting your brain's reward system with surprising intensity. No wonder 3 hours of TikTok leaves you feeling drained but desperate for more. You're not weak, you're experiencing a chemically driven response to platforms designed to hijack your dopamine system. And speaking of hijacking, your brain has a craving pathway, not just a reward system. Neuroscientist Dr. Wolfram Schultz discovered that the ventral tegmental area and nucleus accumbens work together to generate desire, while your prefrontal cortex, on the part responsible for self-control, acts as a brake that often fails. This is why you can intellectually know that scrolling is bad for you while simultaneously being unable to stop. The craving pathway is ancient and powerful. The prefrontal cortex is newer and weaker. It's like trying to stop a freight train with a bicycle brake. When you understand this, you stop blaming yourself for lack of willpower and start working with your brain's actual wiring. But here's where things get really concerning. Chronic overstimulation literally rewires your brain structure. Dr. Ofer Terrell's neuroimaging studies at California State University found that heavy social media users showed decreased gray matter in the anterior cingulate cortex and reduced connectivity in areas responsible for cognitive control, changes strikingly similar to those seen in substance use disorders. Your prefrontal cortex, your brain's control center, shows decreased activity and connectivity, making it harder to control impulses and make long-term decisions. Meanwhile, the areas responsible for craving grow stronger and more sensitive. This isn't just a habit you can break with willpower. It's a physical change to your brain architecture that requires intentional rewiring through new behaviors and time. And this next one explains why it feels so impossible to stop. The craving loop is self-reinforcing and gets stronger every time you give in. Here's how it works. Thinking about something triggers dopamine, which creates craving, which motivates behavior, which releases more dopamine, which strengthens the entire cycle. Dr. Judson Brewer from Brown University calls this the trigger behavior reward loop, and each repetition makes the neural pathway stronger. This is why your first instinct when you're bored, anxious, or even happy is to reach for your phone. Your brain has learned that phone equals dopamine, and it's created a superhighway in your neural network that gets faster and more automatic with every use. But now we get to the absolute game changer. Here's the revelation that will revolutionize your relationship with motivation. Dopamine drives wanting, not liking, and most people don't realize these are completely different things. Research by Dr. Kent Berridge at the University of Michigan revealed that the brain systems for wanting and liking are completely separate. You can want something intensely while getting no pleasure from it. This explains why you can crave social media while it makes you miserable, or why you impulse buy things that sit unused in your closet. Your wanting system has been hijacked, but your liking system is telling the truth. Start paying attention to what you actually enjoy versus what you compulsively want. They're probably very different lists, and if you think that's eye-opening, wait until you hear this. Modern technology exploits the exact same addiction circuitry as drugs, but it's legal and socially acceptable. Sean Parker, Facebook's founding president, admitted that social media was designed to exploit a vulnerability in human psychology by giving users a little dopamine hit. Variable ratio reinforcement, the same principle behind slot machines, mobility, is built into every notification system, like button and infinite scroll feature. The difference between cocaine and Instagram isn't the mechanism, it's the delivery method. One is chemical, the other behavioral, but both hijack your dopamine system to keep you coming back for more. Now here's something that might give you hope. Your dopamine system can heal, but it takes longer than you think. Dr. Lemke's clinical work suggests that while acute withdrawal from behavioral addictions may peak within days, full restoration of dopamine sensitivity can take weeks to months depending on the severity of overstimulation. This is why the first month of any behavior change feels impossibly hard. Your brain is literally recalibrating from overstimulation. But here's the encouraging part. People who successfully reset their dopamine systems report that normal activities, conversations, walks, reading, become intensely pleasurable again. Colors seem brighter, food tastes better, and small accomplishments feel genuinely rewarding. But here's what most people get wrong about the solution. The antidote isn't dopamine fasting, it's dopamine replacement. Harvard psychiatrist Dr. Robert Waldinger found that trying to eliminate all dopamine triggering activities backfires because your brain will find them elsewhere, often in worse forms. Instead, replace high-intensity, artificial dopamine hits with natural, sustainable ones. Exercise provides significant and lasting increases in dopamine and other mood-enhancing neurotransmitters. Creating something with your hands, having meaningful conversations, and achieving small daily goals all trigger dopamine in ways that build you up instead of depleting you. And this next discovery will change how you see your environment. Your environment is programming your dopamine responses without your permission. Dr. Larry Rosen's studies on technology addiction found that just seeing smartphone notifications, even on silent, triggered measurable stress responses and craving behaviors in heavy users, with visual cues alone activating the same neural pathways as actual phone use. This means your physical space is either supporting your recovery or sabotaging it. Phone charging stations outside the bedroom, app icons move to less convenient locations, and notification settings all influence your dopamine patterns. You can't rely on willpower alone. You need to design an environment that makes healthy choices easier and unhealthy ones harder. And here's the most hopeful discovery of all. Natural dopamine activities create lasting satisfaction, while artificial ones create tolerance. Dr. Robert Sapolsky's research at Stanford shows that activities like exercise, learning new skills, and helping others trigger dopamine release that enhances rather than depletes your system's sensitivity. Unlike social media or shopping, these activities make you more capable of experiencing pleasure over time, not less. The key is finding natural dopamine sources that align with your values and long-term goals, then gradually replacing artificial ones with these sustainable alternatives. The dopamine trap isn't a personal failing. It's a predictable response to an environment designed to exploit your brain's reward system. But now that you understand how it works, you can start working with your dopamine system instead of against it. If number 7 about wanting versus liking blew your mind, you're going to want to see our video on how to identify your authentic desires versus manufactured cravings. And if you're ready to start rewiring your brain for sustainable motivation, hit that subscribe button, and because understanding your psychology is the first step to changing your life.